Are you someone who gets a lot of back tension? Or unfortunately, you're stuck in a desk for most of the day? Well, you're in luck because I'm going to show you a very simple strategy you can do to help loosen up your entire spine. It only takes seconds to do. Today I'm going to show you how I perform some seated pelvic tilts. And if you don't know what pelvic tilting is, that's when we start to move or try to isolate the motion of our pelvis, dumping forward into that anterior pelvic tilt, or going backwards into that posterior pelvic tilt. I'm going to show you the basics behind that, but also at the end show you a little bit extra to get a full stretch in the entire spine. So step one is we have to learn how to pelvic tilt. This is also a great drill to help with awareness of your pelvic positioning. What you're going to do is make L's with your fingers, put them right around the top of your pelvis. And then what I'm going to do is pretend like my pelvis is a bowl of water. So to anteriorly pelvic tilt, we're just going to try to isolate this motion, but my index fingers should start to go towards the floor, or I'm thinking of dumping that water out the front. Next, we're going to go into that posterior pelvic tilt, or bringing my thumbs down towards the chair, and that's going to start tipping that water out the back. Now, if you're not familiar with pelvic tilting, this is just a good enough stretch to help build some awareness, as I mentioned, but also training some mobility of your lumbopelvic girdle. Now, if you're more advanced and this is natural to you, now we're going to take it to the next level. So to mobilize the entire spine, we're going to use our arms for this. So first, we're going to start with that anterior pelvic tilt. So again, I thought of dumping my pelvis forward. At the same time, I'm going to drive my hands into my knees to pull my chest out in front of me. So that looks like this. I'm getting a nice spinal extension stretch here. And then the reverse, I start to dump that water out the back, bring arms out in front of me, and then from here I'm thinking of actively reaching forward as I posterior pelvic tilt. And if you haven't caught on by now, this is very similar to doing a cat-cow stretch on the ground. Now that's how we can upgrade it with our arm movements, but we can upgrade it even further while using our breath. What the heck does that look like? Well, let's start with that extension. I'm going to anteriorly pelvic tilt, drive hands in, and then I'm going to breathe out as I bring my chest out in front of me. And then now I'm going to posteriorly pelvic tilt, start to reach, and then breathe in. Thinking of breathing into that tension between my shoulders as I reach forward. And then simply just rep this out. And you could do a good 5 reps through each cycle of that flexion and extension, or that anteriorly pelvic tilted position, or posterior pelvic tilted position. And with seconds, if you're intentional with your movement, you can really loosen up your entire spine. And you don't even have to get out of your chair to perform it. So if you're stuck in a chair, or you just want to learn how to mobilize your spine and from a seated position, this should be your go-to move. For the best results, you'd want to perform 5 to 10 cycles every few hours if you're stuck in the desk. Or this is just a good mobility drill to add a couple times a day. If you do this daily over a couple week period, you're going to notice a lot more spinal range and mobility. If you're dealing with any discomfort during each of these ranges, don't be a hero, just go within your safe range, and as you practice this, you'll be able to open up more and more. If you're curious how to upgrade your cat-cow stretch, check out this video here. Get the stretching, y'all.